irregular verbs in a tiempo pretérito can be outrageous. I'm talking about no accent marks, weird verb endings. But here's the thing, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But what's more diabolical are the complete spelling changes of the verbs. In many cases, a lot of them are difficult to identify what the main verb even was. Pero no te preocupes, porque en este video, I'm gonna show you one easy hack that will have you singing these conjugations like this guy over here. En este video vamos a aprender cuáles son los superregulares comunes, un canto específico, los verbos que cambian sus sentidos y también tenemos bonus, where we learn in context. Pero antes de continuar, make sure that you download the PDF file that goes along with this that gives us all of the extra activities that you can use to make sure you really know el tiempo pretérito con los superirregulares. A propósito, if you're joining me for the first time, soy Profe Don Omar, a Spanish teacher turned Spanish coach who's helped thousands of learners go from fumbling basic phrases to smooth, confident conversations in record time over the last 24 years. Ahora, before we jump all the way into superirregulares, es muy importante que empezamos con esa información que tenemos aquí antes de continuar con los verbos superirregulares en el tiempo pretérito. ¿Qué es el pretérito? ¿Cuándo usa el pretérito? Y sabes todas las conjugaciones regulares en el tiempo pretérito. Es muy importante. So it's very important that you know the answers to all of these questions that we have here. And of course, the last one is not a question, but make sure you know all of your endings for conjugations con los verbos que terminan AR, ER, EIR. Si no sabes el tiempo pretérito con los verbos regulares, está bien, no te preocupes. Make sure you click the link in the description below for the video on the regular verbs in the preterite tense before you watch this. Now, you can watch this video. I suggest you watch the first video in the description below and then come back to this one before we jump all the way in con los superirregulares. Okay, now let's jump into it. So, aquí tenemos la pregunta, ¿cuáles son los superirregulares? Aquí tenemos todos los verbos superirregulares en el tiempo pretérito. Ser, ir, dar, ver, querer, hacer, venir, poner, poder, saber, tener, andar, estar, decir, conducir y traer. Y aquí están los verbos más comunes en la situación con los superirregulares. Here are the most common super irregular verbs that we're going to focus on first. Okay, ya tenemos todos los verbos, but here's the kicker. Remember, and I've said it before a million times, you want to start with mastering an A and B conversation first. In other words, la forma de yo y la forma de tú. Start there first, and then you can build out or build up, whichever way you want to build. And why do I say that? Because it's the easiest way to start and engage in conversation in Espanol. Once you can have a one-on-one conversation, then you can start throwing everything else into the pot and start talking about other things and other people. Okay, so now we have the entire list of the super irregulars in the preterite tense. So let's go ahead and jump into this hack so that you can know these super irregulars like the back of your hand. And sabes que I've been using esta canción desde 2007. I've been using it since 2007 with high school students all the way up to clients that are as old as 72 years old. So I know it definitely works. Prior to 2007, the main issue was trying to make these irregular verbs second nature when trying to have a conversation. So developing a specific chant or phrase has helped out tremendously in helping people remember the different forms of these verbs in el pretérito. Now, when we start this chant, I want to make sure that you say it the same way you hear it. It's only going to work if you participate and do it the same way you hear me do it. We're going to go through it semi-fast because you've probably seen some of these words before. Okay, so when I point at you, repita lo que oíste. Repeat what you hear. Uno, dos, tres. Uno, dos, tres. Fui divi. Fui divi. Quise, hice, vine yo. Puse, pude, supe yo. Tuve, anduve, estuve yo. Dije, conduje, traje yo. Pretérito, irregular. Ya yo sé los verbos. Ole. All right, buen trabajo, bien hecho.
Real quick, two things. I want to thank you personally for taking time to watch this video, but did you know that over 76% of people who watch the videos here on Speak Spanish Now are not subscribed? And there's a good chance that you could be one of them. So make sure you're subscribed so you catch all of the fun tips, the creative strategies, and easy to follow lessons. The second thing is that my Spanish Made Simple challenge is coming up very soon, and I want to make sure that you are a part of it. It's a 5-day challenge where I guide you through some of the basics of learning Spanish, key tactics and strategies I've used with my clients and students for over the last 24 years. But more importantly, I want to encourage you to register for the VIP experience where we will spend an additional hour addressing specific questions you may have, as well as hands-on practice on how to properly listen, comprehend, and speak the language. So use the link below to get registered for the Spanish Made Simple Challenge, and I'll see you there. Now, let's get back to the rest of the video.
Y ahora vamos a aprender estos verbos en contexto con una conversación básica. Recuerda, 1-a-1. We're talking about one-on-one conversations, tú y yo. Mira el número 1. Aquí tenemos una pregunta con una respuesta. ¿Fuiste al mercado para comprar frutas? Fui al mercado para comprar frutas. Otro ejemplo. ¿Fuiste maestro de inglés por 2 años? Sí, fui maestro de inglés por 2 años. Otro ejemplo. ¿Le diste un regalo a tu amigo? Sí, le di un regalo a mi amigo. Y el último ejemplo. Ok, mira, yo voy a leer la pregunta y tú vas a leer la respuesta con voz alta, con la forma apropiada del verbo que necesitamos poner en el espacio en blanco. So I'm going to read the question, you read the answer with the answer that is the most appropriate to go in the blank. ¿Viste una película muy emocionante? Y aquí tenemos la respuesta, B, para el espacio en blanco. ¿Quisiste aprender español porque es un idioma hermoso? Y la respuesta, quise. Y el último ejemplo. ¿Hiciste ejercicio antes de salir con amigos? Y la respuesta es, hice. Okay, so in esta sesión aquí, we've got some things that are super important for you to understand. Ojo. Meaning changes in the preterite tense. What does that actually mean? Let's take a look. Mira, con el verbo querer. In a positive light, it means implies or tried or attempted a completed action. Por ejemplo, quise aprender español, pero no tuve tiempo. Con el verbo saber, it changes from to know, like we know facts or information in el presente, to found out something or learned something. Por ejemplo, supe la respuesta después de leer el libro. Y el verbo poder, managed to or succeeded in, emphasizing that the action was successfully completed. Por ejemplo, pude terminar mi tarea antes de la medianoche. Pero si necesitamos usar el verbo poder en una forma negativa o una manera negativa, it implies fail to do something. Por ejemplo, no pude encontrar mi teléfono esta mañana. Before we land the plane, I always like to leave you with a power tip after each lesson. And today's power tip is this. Make irregular verbs stick with a story. Here's a tip that works like magic every single time. Create a short personal story using as many irregular verbs that you possibly can. Kind of like what we did in this video today. I've got a made up story that you can check out and practice with on your own. Make sure you click the link below so that you can get an example of one of these made up stories that I'm talking about. Make it fun, dramatic, or even silly. Yesterday I went to the mall. I saw a dog wearing some shades. I said cool shades. Now, I know you're asking, why does this work? Stories activate your memory by connecting words to action, emotions, and context, making it easier to recall tricky verbs later on. So go ahead and grab that pen and get to writing and try doing this 1 to 3 times a week and watch how you progress that much better con el tiempo pretérito y los verbos super irregulares. They're really going to help drive this idea home. Of course, you got the lyrics to that famous canto, super irregulares. Puede be? Quise, hice, vine yo, puse, pude, supe yo, tuve, anduve, estuve yo, dije, conduje, traje yo, pretérito, irregular. Ya yo sé los verbos. Ole. Yeah, you got that in there as well, so make sure you jot that down. And look, if you're ready for your next step in your language journey, go ahead and click right here where YouTube has picked the best video for you to watch, and I'll see you over there. Soy Profe Don Omar, your guide on how to speak Spanish now. Nos vemos.